Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and to the garden. Today's video we're just going to be taking a look at the root system on the Fatsia Japonica. I ended up picking up one of these from B&M and ended up getting actually a couple on a reasonable deal here. So what we'll do is just take a look at what the root system looks like, show you where they're going, grabbed a couple other plants as well, and we'll just take a look at those as we go. Just coming back here towards the sort of jungle area of the garden, one of the other plants that we did manage to pick up recently, again from B&M, you can just see it in here, is the colocasia esculenta metallica. Ended up getting two of these plants in the end. Actually pretty good root system on these. It was a bit of a shame I did not get the best recording of showing the root system on that, but pretty much pot full. You can also see just down here we have the Ethereum. So this is your Pictum Niponicum, so it's going to be your Japanese painted fern. Hasn't really colored up yet. I'm hoping that once it does actually get some UV here, we'll be able to kind of see that coloration. Just as we come down this way, sorry for the shaky camera. So this is what it should look like once we do get that some nice growth on that. And hopefully again, we'll kind of fill out this little area here. You can see now if I come back a bit. I think it fits in nicely. We've got a few different, we've got the alocasias and a few different colocasias in this area. Again, just changing up the leaf pattern. But just to show you here, so here is the Fatsia Japonica spider's web. Lovely variegation on these. Very small plants, as you can see. The one I did already take a look at, I did find out what the root system was like on that. Part of the reason I wanted to show you today, just as to show you that what some plants are sort of different, others full of roots, some not so much. But the other one we got here, guys, this is the dyropteris cristata, the king. And you can just see on these, it's quite kind of interesting on the end of the fern frond. You almost get this kind of like tufting. Let's see if I can find one that shows it nicely. Just take a look there. You can see it's got almost like little tufts on it. Again, just another unique fern for this area. Again, we think we've got nearly 20 plus different species of fern in this area. You can see here, this is the other esculenta metallica that we picked up. I'm going to try these in the ground. Again, I've read pretty good information that, you know, for most part these should be okay in the ground with a bit of mulch over them. But what we'll do now is just pause and show you exactly what the roots look like. Just before I do that though, just to show you the prices. So for the dyropteris cristata king, this is your finished cristata king, that one we picked up for just £4.50. Again, small little plant in there, but again looks like it's powering out loads of new fronds, so always happy with that. These were typically £6.50, as you can see, but we ended up getting them for $3.25, so had to pick up two of them. And you can see the reasons why. There's some browning on the leaves here. Again, I think it's just kind of the, you know, when they're shipped and things like that, they go through some dry spells, and of course they get watered in when they're there, but you know, it can take effect on some of the leaves. So we'll take the discount. More than happy to try and get these to size up. And they should be pretty winter hardy here as well, even at this small size. But again, we've got three of them now. One went in the ground just over there. And I'll try to zoom just briefly. You can just see right there next to the shamrops. So we're going to keep that one in as it goes there. I've got no space for these, but just before we do that, just show you what the roots look like on this one here. So you can see here, guys, I've gently pulled this one out the pot, as I was aware the system wasn't great. You can just see not too much in there. Again, this would be some sort of cutting that would have been into here, and you know, just grown on. But you know, compared to some of the other plants you may have seen from the ones we've got, and we've checked out the root systems, you know, these are pretty light and quite delicate. So it's just when planting, you know, certain plants and you're pulling them out the plot, just be prepared that some are going to be more rooted than others. So sometimes I would caution grabbing from the stem and pulling out, as you may very well just pull the whole cutting straight out of the growing material here. But with that said, yeah, what I'm going to do, as you can see that's you know, not great. It's going to be the same for the other one. Again, I've just had a look on the first one when I first got it, and I'll just show you the fern, and that's full of roots on here. Now, this wasn't from B&M. This is actually from my local sort of nursery. If you're interested in sort of the local nurseries in my area, check out the Sunnyside nursery. A great one to go to, fairly local to me, and again, usually pretty good plant selection. Not a huge amount of tropicals, but they do have some. I may do a kind of brief tour of the Sunnyside Garden Center. Certainly put it down in the comments if you'd be interested to check that out. But what we'll do now is, you can see the roots on these. Once again, these I'm fairly happy with. I've got a few ferns from them, all very well you know, rooted in there. And once again, you can see the fantastic little bits of new growth in there just as well. But what we'll do is get these planted in and just show you exactly where they're going. So just to show you now where those have gone, we have placed one over here. Also just go over, whether I'd recommend getting them or not. One over here you can just see, just underneath the large bay we've got, next to the Robellini, which is probably going to be getting moved, taken out for winter. That one's still in the pot there. Again, it's going to provide that little bit of overhead protection. I think from what my experience, these do better in sort of part shade or full shade as opposed to full sun. Some of us, others have done well in other conditions. It does very much depend on your garden and the conditions that it's in. The affinis cristata, the king, has gone right here again next to some of the other fern varieties that we've got down here. Again, just kind of, I know it kind of blends into the sea of green, but hopefully once these do size up, you'll see quite a noticeable difference between the different types of ferns in this area here. As we just pan around this way, just to show you where the other one has gone, you can just see down here as we come down the jungle path. Come out to here and show you, and you can just see right down in here, this one has gone just up under the yucca, which again, unsure if that's going to kind of make it any further with these not very hardy, but we're going to test it out this winter, see if we can do anything to get it through. And it just kind of opens up this kind of path down into the jungle area, hopefully providing a nice interest as you kind of come into it. Again, these should size up quite nicely. The one thing is obviously sort of planting later in the year, hopefully giving it enough time to really get into the ground, and grow. Now with these, typically, as I say, this would be grown from cutting. So with that said, the root system establishment is quite important on these, so hopefully we can get that fully established before winter. Of course, at the price that they were at, I'm not as hugely concerned, and with them being a more regular sort of B&M one, of course, nice to see. And just as we pan this way, I'll just step back just to show you the onset first. Cover the light. Absolutely huge now, and you can see we've just tucked it just down under here. Again, hopefully going to provide us some evergreen interest in the winter, just underneath the yucca, and of course next to some of the persicaria and the large musabastu clump here. But yeah, with that said, would I recommend purchasing even with a root system such as this? I would still go for it if you can, certainly for those prices. If we were talking 20 quid for the plant, something like that, $25, somewhere around these sorts of prices, then yeah, I might be a little bit upset if the roots came like that. But with it coming from B&M, big box store, and being discounted down to only £3.25, I thought it was absolutely worth it. Even at £6.50 standard price, I'd probably still recommend picking one up. Again, I think for the value of money, really, guys, if you can get it through, it's going to be absolutely worth it. The worst thing is you've lost a couple pounds if it doesn't. But with that said, getting them in the ground, we've still got a few sort of months really left of growing in the UK. So hopefully a lot of these will kind of fill out and, once again, get established. But with that said, certainly let me know your thoughts in the comments as to whether you'd pick up any of these plants from B&M, sort of what you thought of the root system. Of course, if you think anybody else would be interested to know this, thinking about buying these, certainly feel free to share the video to them. Let them know kind of what they look like before they go ahead and buy it. Of course, with that said, if you haven't checked out the friends of the channel, they'll be in the comment section below. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.